Hey everyone! Welcome to Tuesday Newsday. It's good to see you guys. Welcome Chris, welcome Jennifer. Great to have you on. Jen, I know you've been on several times, so great to see you again. I think the last time you were on too, I had the two screens going, or the two cameras going, because we were talking augment.
Yep.
And Chris, I'm excited to get to know you and ask you what you've done. What have you done?
I've wreaked havoc, but it's my job.
Excellent. So those who don't know, you're going to be talking today about the brand new surprise drop on Valentine's Day of BattleTech's first romance novel, or official romance novel. So excited to chat with you guys about that. Don't forget to drop any Q&A in the chat for the moderators to move on over to our question doc so that I can get that toward the end of the show. But first, we're going to do our updates, and then we'll come back to our interview. So for BattleTech, here's what we've got. So we've got a new release coming. Tomorrow is a new street date. So we will be seeing the Inner Sphere Security Lance Force Pack, the House Davian Heavy Battle Lance Force Pack, and Sun Tzu's The Art of War, translated by Jamie Wolfe, officially dropping to retail. Of course, those are the US and Canada dates for the Kickstarter items. The House Davian Battle Lance is not a Kickstarter item, so that will be available worldwide. So exciting stuff. I think in terms, and then we've got, of course, don't forget that we have a new book release of Hungry Like the Wolf. I'm gonna get you guys the link here so that I can drop it in chat if my Discord decides to let me scroll. But there we go. Okay, it's catching up with me now. So you'll be able to go to the books to read link and get your copy. Here's my YouTube moderators chat. Here's my Hungry Like the Wolf link. Whee! And this is for you guys. Right there in chat. Oh, hey, Big Red. Big Red is the reason that we are talking about Hungry Like the Wolf today. Awesome. So I think that is most of our BattleTech news. I know there's a Kickstarter update coming later today, but there's nothing new really since they're in fulfillment across the globe. So good news there. All right, Shadowrun Augment released last week as well, and it's doing very well. I saw that it was #1 on Drive Through Fiction, so congrats, Jen.
Thank you. It's still number one.
Awesome.
Hungry Like the Wolf is still like number 4 or 5.
Awesome. That's exciting stuff. So, Augment, if you are interested in Shadowrun fiction or even contributing, here is the link to Augment. Boop. There you go. All right. Shadowrun, in terms of other news, March is going to see the release of Deadly Arts is the next book. And I know that Shadowrun Takedown is currently on a boat coming to hubs and the US, and so that should be fulfilling I'd say by June at the latest. Or wait, no, Takedown is not yet on the boat. It's still in manufacturing because Chinese New Year. So I'm getting my lines confused here. So that one's still in manufacturing, so we will know once it's on the boat. That'll be our next update, but this is the slow period of fulfilling Kickstarters where everything's turned over, it's printing, it just takes a while. Leviathans, that one is on the boat. That's what I'm confusing with being on the boat. And we're going to have a ton of photo drops coming because Randall just got like 50 some boxes of all of the production samples so that he could see everything, check everything, make sure it's all good to go while everything is on a boat on the way to the US and the hubs for fulfillment. So exciting stuff there for Leviathans. Keep watching the backer updates and social media for photos. Fiction, I talked about the two current releases, so that is covered. Board games, Runefire is moving forward. Pretty excited that we're gonna have the famous artist from a lot of the Paizo covers doing the cover for Runefire as well. That's being worked on this month. So exciting there. RPGs, we have Frostpunk is launching on Kickstarter 1 month from today is Tuesday, 1 month from Thursday. So that is the TTRPG. We will also be launching the same day as 11 Bits Kickstarter for the Frostpunk art book and fiction anthology. And there's even going to be an exclusive to the Kickstarter metal art piece of Frostpunk. There's going to be one design that is on their Kickstarter and one design that is on ours, so you can collect them both. And they're going to be early bird rewards, I believe, is the plan at this point. Voltron, the pledge manager is done. It's being tested right now, and make sure that everything is perfect. And once it is, or as perfect as we can get it, and then we'll be launching that this week. So coming this week. And fan roll. So I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. One of our partners, Fanroll, they do a lot of our dice sets. They've done the anniversary dice sets for both BattleTech and Shadowrun. They did the Mercenaries dice sets. They're working on some cool stuff that's coming out soon. But in the meantime, they have a Kickstarter that just went live today. They are partnered with the creators of Catan. So they're doing a luxury Catan series, and it's pretty exciting. So it just went live today. They funded in an hour. So I think they're well over $100,000 now. So I'm going to drop that in the chat for you guys to go check out. Whee! And then finally, the most disappointing news I have for the day is that next week is Gamma, and so we will not be doing Tuesday Newsday because I'll be at the show. So no Tuesday Newsday next week, but we are getting our March lineup together, and it's going to be pretty exciting, talking about all of our new releases. We'll be talking about Flippin' Ninja, and we'll have some Shadowrun on for Deadly Arts, and we'll keep that ball moving. So and we're going to be gearing up for Adepticon as well, so maybe we'll start telling some of our little surprises that'll be on our way there. So that was a lot of talking. Hi guys. So I told you guys before the show, and I guess we need a little bit of an intro. So what is Hungry Like the Wolf? It came because of a poll that Big Red 40 Tech did on his stream, and got a cover for this fake fiction book designed with Alaric on it for and Hungry Like the Wolf is the title. So it was a romance novel cover. So that was last year. And then on Valentine's Day we got this surprise drop of a romance novel. So the first question, I told you I was going to pull some directions or some questions that I've seen directly from the community once it went live. So my first question is, what?
Well, Lauren approached me and said, how would you like to write a romance novel with giant battling robots? And I started laughing because, I mean, who wouldn't? And I couldn't stop laughing long enough to say no. So I wrote a romance novel with giant battling robots, which was a challenge. And actually, it was a great deal of fun. I
Awesome.
really enjoyed playing in that world.
Awesome. Jen,
Well, John, who complicates my life constantly, like, "Hey, you've added romance before," and I'm like, "You mean traditional romance, like the actual trope romance?" And yes, I have. I mean, I wrote romances, romantic relationships in BattleTech before. Nellis Academy had the first canonical gay character couple. I had it in the Rogue Academy trilogy. Um, Nadine is bi and very out and proud, and while her brother is ace because he's frankly way more interested in mechs than anything else. Um, but when he asked me, I was just like, are you serious?" And again, I started laughing as well, and he's like, "Yeah, we're serious." I'm like, "As long as it fits into my schedule, sure, I will do it." But it has to follow the traditional romance tropes and the ending, and it can't be a tragedy, etc. It was like I gave some caveats to I would edit it if, and John's like, "I think the author we've got is good," and yes, it was quite good
Oh, okay. So question 2. Why?
because there's an interest. Why not?
Yeah, the response to that cover last year, after Lauren brought this to me, I went and looked up the history on this fake cover, and there were a lot of people going, "Oh yeah, I want to see it. I want to read it. Maybe my wife will actually read BattleTech now." So,
I wrote
Awesome.
the first traditional romance in Shadowrun with A Kiss to Die For. Is an actual traditional romance. So it's one of those things that our fans are well-rounded. They enjoy all aspects of life, and the thing that I've learned by writing and editing BattleTech and Shadowrun is they wanna know everything. They want to experience everything, and, you know, it sounds like a joke, but it's totally not a joke. This is an actual BattleTech book. It would not stand without the mech fights and the culture of, the Ill Clan versus with the Terrans, and the story wouldn't stand without the romantic relationship. They are intertwined, and they're actually it is cheesy and it is fun, but it is actually still good.
Awesome. I
well, and it really did have some very serious undertones because you've got the Terran Empire who have very traditional Earth-like civilization, and then the clans who have gone off on their own, spent 1,000 years, or not 1,000 years, but several hundred years developing a very different culture, very different societal norms, and suddenly you've got two people. I mean, it's a Romeo and Juliet. You've got two people from completely different backgrounds who, uh, their entire civilizations are at war with each other in one way or another. And you're bringing these two together. And that's a pretty solid romance plot right there.
That's awesome. So the, the next question is how. So how like what is this book? Describe what people can expect from a BattleTech romance novel.
Battletech and romance.
And
You can be
Alaric.
Seriously, there's some excellent actual battling going on, thanks to Brian Young, because I didn't know enough about the world to write a competent battle scene,
Mhm.
but he helped me out immensely, wrote me some really great battles.
Great.
And with Jen's help, I didn't make too many mistakes on the world, but it's a solid BattleTech story about the occupation of Terra,
Awesome.
And
about the adjustments.
the interactions of civilians with the Ill Clan. It's like there is there is the culture clash. You have the enemies to lovers trope, you have the culture clash trope. have a little bit of Romeo and Juliet because there's both sides don't really approve of these two characters spending time together. Um, but this is a story of leaders coming together to a better make the situation better for both sides.
Awesome. So for those maybe that, I mean, obviously Alaric is on the cover. What can we expect for our well-known Alaric within this book?
Well, you heard my answer before.
Before we went live.
Yes. Which was Alaric gets laid. And I've read enough background. I know it's not the first time, but it is a serious relationship with a Terran woman, which is way outside his sphere of experience and a complete clash on the relationship level. Aside from all the wars and everything else that's going on, these two have such different expectations of the relationship that comes when two people care about each other. That, I mean, for him, even caring about a specific person in the way that we earthlings, the way that a Terran woman would expect the family unit and, commitments and so on that are part of our culture are completely not part of their culture in the romantic sense. They absolutely are in terms of friendship and loyalty and commitment. It's very, very strong in clan culture. Even I got that part. But the difference of that committed coupled relationship is just night and day for these two.
I think that not only do I appreciate that this started as something fun in the Big Red community, that people like got a big kick out of and got a lot of laughs and stuff, but like if we were going to do it, we did it right. Like we did an actual
Mhm.
legitimate romance novel, and that's super cool. I also really appreciate, Chris, that like as someone that's newer to BattleTech, I've been around it for 2 years now, but there's a lot of intimidation about 40 years of lore, and the fact that you, like you said, that you're new to BattleTech and writing for it, but that you still were able to put out a book. It makes it a lot more like, oh, I can do it too, kind of feeling
Yeah.
to that. So that's really great. So Chris, what is your background, pre BattleTech novel, romance novel here, that got you
Um,
into this?
well, it started with Star Trek, and I sold my first professional short story to the first Strange New Worlds anthology back in, I think, 97, published in 98.
Oh wow.
So I've been at this a while, and I've dabbled in a lot of, more than dabbled, a lot of different worlds. And so I've learned to adapt to the needs of a world that I might not be real familiar with. I've got these two are in the world of Alias, which I
Ooh.
realize you have to be a little older to even remember that series, but
Shh.
it
No.
was it was I tell the story on myself. A call went out for people who wanted to write Alias novels, and I honestly had never watched the show. But I'd heard about it and I'd heard it was good and it sounded like something I would like. So I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to. Let me throw my name in the hat, and they said, okay, send proposals. And I immediately ran to Blockbuster. That's how long ago it was. And rented whatever they had on the shelf and started watching. And I just binged on anything I get my hands on, wrote a proposal that they bought and published, and they bought a second one.
Wow.
Well, I got to write 2 Alias novels, and it was one of those, "Oh my god, I've gotta figure out what this world is about." So I'd had a little practice when Lauren came to me with BattleTech, but from there, I've written in a whole bunch of worlds. I actually wrote in Mage Knight for one story with my husband, who has written Tech
Ooh,
Warrior, Dark Age.
awesome.
He wrote 2 novels in that world. So it was actually useful because he had research materials and, was able to bring me a whole big book of mechs and all the specs and illustrations and so on. So I had an extra research source here.
Good. Good. So you said for Alias that you dove into the TV show and kind of researching this whole universe.
Mhm.
You had for BattleTech, you had your husband's books, you have his research materials. Is there anything else that you like? What was your go-to source out there for?
John sent me a whole stack of novels with fortunately crib notes on where the Alaric character was in those books.
Oh,
So I was
cool.
able to read his backstory. Um, I ended up having some gaps in my knowledge because I was skipping around trying to learn that character and where he fit. And fortunately, I had other sources to go, flip through and go, okay, well, what does this mean in clan society? And how does this particular thing work? And so there was a lot to learn, but it was really fun.
Awesome.
A
And
lot of good reading.
and then so you've written for some of these big IPs and stuff like that. What about your history as a romance author? Because I know before I even heard your name, Chris, I heard we've got a legitimate romance author writing this book. Oh, Dream House.
Dream House. This was Five Star Publishing back when they were doing a lot of library editions. And
Mhm.
that's mostly what that was.
Oh, cool.
But I did that. I did several other, and then from there, I did a lot of anthology work over the years, particularly with Denise Little in the old Daw anthologies, which were wonderful. And then she called me and said, I've got a cozy mystery project, and I think you'd be perfect for it. And that has turned into 2 series and a third I'm working on. This is the latest one. I actually prepared. I brought a stack of books so
Yeah,
I
you
could
keep
show
pulling
them
stuff
to.
out of from off screen.
Yeah.
I'm curious what else is there that I haven't asked you about.
Well, these are the Haunted Souvenir Shop Mysteries,
Ooh,
which were originally issued by, Berkeley Crime, and
awesome.
I have reissued the first 4 in omnibus editions, and then this is book 5, and they're set in North Florida, which is an area I love to visit. I'm glad I don't have to live there because they have bugs and snakes and various things that I don't really like. Heat if you're there in the summer, but it's a beautiful area. So it's set in the Florida Panhandle, and my heroine owns a souvenir shop that is haunted. She has a ghost and she has a parrot that she inherited along with the shop. and the parrot is the spokesbird for the ghost.
Ooh, that's fun.
It has
Awesome.
been. It's really a fun series. And I get to kill people, and they pay me for this. And nobody's arrested me yet. So, you
Yeah,
know,
I kill a lot of people too. It's fun. Fictionally, I mean, fictionally.
Now, Jen,
yeah, we do have to, you
you
know,
you mentioned that
justify that.
you've done romance in Shadowrun and BattleTech. What about outside of those? Have you done any romance?
Uh, I have had romantic entanglements, but not a traditional romance. I've written a urban fantasy quartet that had some of that going on, the Karen Wilson Chronicles. Um, the Melissa Allen trilogy was a sci-fi thriller. There was no romance in that. I actually think I had more romance in my BattleTech and Shadowrun than anything else I've written, which is funny because when Jason Smetcher first approached me to write BattleTech, I was like, no, I don't I don't write mechs and I don't write romance.
Hypocrite.
Yeah, just I've grown as an author, and one of the beautiful things about the BattleTech fans is when I wrote the Nellis Academy incident, which has been 10 years ago now. Um, Nobody said anything bad about any of the romances because I had the gay couple, I had a broken up couple, and I had a het couple, and then I had two that were kind of had buddy go get a room kind of type. Um, and then when I wrote Nadine and Lyric in Rogue Academy, I the first BattleTech fan art I ever got was based around Lyric, the love interest for Nadine. And I've never had anybody say anything bad about any of the romantic plots in um, BattleTech. I have had people get mad at me for Shadowrun because Makeda Red starts on a party train, a debauchery kind of party train, and people are like, "This isn't Shadowrun. This is lit erotica," and I'm like, "Clearly, you did not read past like chapter one, but okay,
I like Makeda Red, so shut up.
yeah, thank you."
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we've kind of covered uh the book and how you guys got involved and your backgrounds and stuff like that. Have you been watching How's the Pulse of the Community? How's the reception of the book going? Do you think we're
I
likely to see more romance in BattleTech in the future?
My favorite um, comment besides the what, who, how, what comment was, "I would like to read more about Alaric now because now I like him."
Wow.
Somebody was they
Uh-oh.
liked him as a person now.
Huh. That's
That was
dangerous.
that was a big part of the job on this one was because he was basically an unlikable character. He was egotistical, he was arrogant, he was very cold and calculating in many ways. And as Lauren pointed out to me at one point, he did kill his own mother. And I kind of had to agree with that. But as I told him, the bitch had it coming. So really, that was hard because to make him a romantic hero, I had to soften him some,
Yeah.
but I couldn't soften him too much because that's just not realistic with who he is. And that's why it's a little bittersweet at the end, but it's not totally it. I think I left the ending open to interpretation because there will be continuing stories of that character. At
And
least I hope.
Devendra, the female lead, Devendra, she is his match in stubbornness.
Mhm.
And like a lot of romantic stories, I think they're gonna still be button heads, like,
Oh, yeah.
massively. So, is there gonna be more BattleTech romance? I think the answer is, how does this book sell?
Mhm.
Because remember, publishing is a business. if there is a need in the market, I already know of another author who was like, I want in on writing BattleTech romance.
That's
So
awesome. Cool. Yeah,
Oh, I absolutely, given the opportunity, sure.
I think it's what I've seen so far is all over the spectrum, but decidedly over the spectrum. Like it's either like yes, 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 oh God, no, or like maybe. Like I'm curious but afraid. So it's pretty cool to evoke that kind of emotion just from putting it out there, which is exciting. So
one of the things is nobody wants to become the butt of a joke. And the concept of a BattleTech romance sounds like a joke. I mean, it was an April Fool the cover was an April Fool's joke, but there was definitely something there. And if we continue it, and if I'm anywhere in the editing process, it's not going to be a joke. It is going to follow the various tropes. It's going to follow both sides, the BattleTech and the romance. And we're going to definitely have mech battles in there. Everything will pull together, but
well,
it really
it's not a
what?
comedy. It's not a comedy genre necessarily.
No,
It's
it's not, and you
yeah.
can't make it into one. And this book isn't. I
Mhm.
mean, there's everything from assassins to civilian dis- collateral damage to mech on mech fighting. I mean, we got it all.
Mhm. Awesome. Cool.
Well,
Um
and that was my approach to it too, was that the idea was kind of hysterical because it seemed like, cheese and chalk, completely un incompatible elements, but and that made it funny. It was that juxtaposition. But even then, I had to write a good book.
mhm.
I couldn't just, laugh it off and throw something together. That's not who I am, for starters. And the book had to be taken seriously. The story and the characters had to be treated with respect.
Mhm.
And if you treat them with respect, even when there's that joke behind it, you get a good story.
Well, and I think there's something to be said to like what you said, Chris, about, people commenting, "Oh, my wife might get into BattleTech now" and stuff like that. There's demonstrations past in the past, decades of that romance and sci-fi mixing together. Like gosh, the Twilight series is for better or worse has the
That's
tropes. um
Twilight is an urban fantasy romance. It is not a sci-fi
Fair,
romance.
fair.
I can be pedantic for this one,
But
but
but like
Thank
similarly,
you.
like the romance genre for women has ebbed and flowed and stuff like that, but it's started getting more into the some of the culture with vampires and with werewolves and with gosh the I'm thinking of all the Charlene
that
Harris series and stuff like that too. Like it's there's a demand for it, and if it pushes
but
BattleTech.
Bram, the romance writers have always been here.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
think that
yeah.
a lot of people don't understand that. The Dark series by Christine, Feehand, I think her name is, started out specifically as a romance series that then was ported over to the more nerdy side of things
Right. But
as it
what I'm
followed
saying
that
is joining that nerdy, like putting these two things together is just more exposure for BattleTech.
through.
It's expanding the world, it's expanding, like if it's not your thing, cool. It doesn't have to be your thing, but it could be someone's thing, and if that gets them excited about big stompy robots, then cool. Then
Oh, yeah,
cool.
absolutely. I mean, I was watching D&D Shorts yesterday, and he just, reviewed a book called Kinks and Cantrips, and what he came up with, it was a D&D book that was on the adult side of things, um, but it was actually a really good D&D supplement. And that's one of those things that, the more you dive into a genre, people want more about the BattleTech world, they want more about the Shadowrun world. I know a couple of people are desperate for more of the Leviathan world, um, and if they can get their partners also involved,
Yeah,
uh, it would be a wonderful thing.
that's awesome. Awesome. Anything else you guys want to say about this process or the experience or the book itself before we move over to Q&A?
I would like to say thank you to Jen, who made my life much easier because, as I said, I lacked some of that background, and fortunately, she saved me on several fronts.
Eh,
And
and there's Brian and John came back with some really good stuff. Marie
yeah,
Bilodeau did a lot of the copy edits. It was a labor of love that the next time we do this, I would like a little bit more time.
Fair.
yeah, yeah, I agree. Part of that was simply getting me the background. There was a lot of reading to do, and then going back and forth finding the story.
Mhm.
And then once we found it, it was straight on till morning, but by that point, we had got ourselves on a pretty tight timeline.
Mm.
And
The last thing I want to say is if anybody is concerned about consent issues between the partners in this book, you don't have to worry.
Mm,
There are no consent issues.
cool. Awesome. Well,
well,
let's.
my understanding of clan culture was that consent is absolutely basic,
Mhm.
and that needed to be there.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Um, I do want to cut over to Q&A, so feel free if you have questions for me, for Jen, for Chris, put them in chat, ping a moderator, um, and we'll get going here. So, Jen, this might be for you. Corehammer asks, Hungry Like the Wolf physical version when?
It should be out now.
Oh, is
The
it?
POD is out now. It just when things come up on drive through and Amazon and stuff, sometimes the POD takes a tiny bit longer than any of us would like it to do. The same thing happened with the magazine. It should be available right now.
Okay. Okay, great. Um,
Hope so. Should
awesome.
probably check.
You lied on international interwebs.
I was mistaken.
Fair.
Actually, let me make sure I'm not mistaken. If I am mistaken, I will go back to John, kick him in the shins, and tell him to get the POD up.
Awesome. He deserves some shin kicking. All right. Then I saw a couple questions in here that got missed, so I'm just adding them to the
There
doc
is
real
a
quick.
paperback. It is
Yay!
available right now.
That's
So
awesome.
go to your favorite store.
Awesome. All right. Leo asks, when will the BattleTech 40th anniversary hoodies restock? I'm not sure. Let me ask. I'll have to ask Talon. 40th in hoodies. Restock when? Kalos's gaming table asks, when do you know when the restock for things like Hinterlands will reach the US? I know they're on boats, but I did hear earlier today in a meeting about entirely different things that because of the tariffs, everyone rushed shipments to leave China, and now there is congestion. What I just imagine a bunch of boats like traffic jammed in the middle of the ocean, but I don't know what exactly and where all of this happens. But I do know that like we've got some things that we thought were going to get here at like today that are now pushed to like March 10th and stuff like that. So, state of the world, things are getting delayed, but I do know they're on a boat, so that's all I've got. um Matt Taylor asks, any ETA for restock of Alpha Strike Commander's Edition? I do think that most of our stock is either at QML for the Mercs fulfillment or in transit to our warehouses, so it should be soon. That's the last thing I heard, so thank you for that. Obsidian Nubis asks, any update on the third Star League Striker release date? I do have the tentative one because these are all subject to move at all times, and I cry when they do. But let me find third Star League Strike Team Force Pack. June 15th is when it's slated for at the moment. What else do I have here? Big Red's question, but why though?
Because
Why not?
Awesome. Wargriz asks, when is the estimated date Leviathans will start shipping to backers? Again, like I haven't heard that Levs is in the traffic jam, but I would assume it's in the traffic jam, so I know that we are hoping to fulfill as early as March, but all tentative based on where things are and how quickly we can get the our contract, and our contract is done, but getting like all of the preliminary stuff like dimensions, weights, all that stuff coordinated so that then we can get all the shipping quotes from our partners so that we can put them in the pledge manager and everything like that. So March is the last thing I heard, but grain of salt there. What else do we have here? Let's see. From the forums, question for those of us still do a salvage box. Will we be getting a shipping notice and or tracking number when they've shipped? I don't know. I think that PSI does that when stuff sends out regardless, but I'm not 100% sure. I do know that our document, our order was submitted, but because of inventory, what happens with the salvage boxes is we order singles and we order the pop displays. And because things are all over the world right now with the hubs and QML and stuff, we have more of the pop displays than we do the singles. So we apparently got an email back that said that they need like someone's approval to break those displays apart to make them into singles. So that was a new roadblock I found out about this morning. So, but I contacted the person and they said that they'll check their email and go approve that. So I'm hoping all of those start shipping out this week. Let's see. Potential question. Is there some kind of distribution delay for non-Kickstarter products? Outside of CGL and Amazon, Second Star League is not showing up at my local store's distributor, and multiple US online retailers with a May release date. So our warehouse is supposed to communicate all release dates, and we have that in the spreadsheet that I pull up anytime you guys ask me for release date stuff. How it's supposed to work is like a week or so before a street date, our warehouse is supposed to let like all distribution know and start shipping stuff out and things like that. Whether or not that always happens. And also, I'm not sure if you've seen the news on the interwebs, but Alliance Distribution has been having some financial issues lately. And so shipments have been slowed up there as they figured that out. So that could be part of it. But, I'm gonna sneeze here, sorry. My nose is itchy. But, at least that's what, I'm aware of so far, as potential delays there. If there's something, you can always send an email to store@catalystgamelabs.com and we can shoot that up the chain to double check things. But the more info you have, like what distributor, what country, that kind of thing is always helpful. What else do we have? That's all that's in my document. So let's keep it going, guys. Send more questions in. Lorcan asks, can we get an estimate of the quantity and the quality of the bodices ripped in the novel?
No bodices
Mostly
ripped.
she doesn't have a bodice
Yeah.
because she's in the mech.
Oh, yeah, I could see where bodices are counter-mech productive.
Yeah, yeah. But
No
we do a
bodice.
little ripping here and there.
We do get a fall and a catch.
Yes, at the very
Oh,
beginning.
Yes, we do get a lovely fall and catch. But for the most part, there's no bodices ripped. But it's real hot inside a mech cockpit, so kind of
Yeah.
got it stripped down.
yeah. Um, Dapper Raccoon.
And it got even hotter. But
But you'll have to
yeah.
read the book.
But we draw the curtains. Yeah.
Aw.
There is a we have to fade to black.
Awesome.
Times.
Dapper Raccoon asks, is this book is included in the Big Kappa 2 year, right? It's still within 2 years, so yes. Yes. Let's see. Rockman JJ, I see that you have general questions. Oh, there's one. Are there any plans for publishing the Mercenaries Kickstarter's minis record sheets as PDF online? I don't have access to photocopier and I don't want to write on the booklet from the box. I think more should be coming with the new MUL that's close-ish to launch. Oh yeah. Hey, thanks, Dave. You got it. Good answer. So Turbo Turtle asks, when do we see another BattleTech novel from Mr. York? But I'm also going to ask about Mrs. York.
Well, I haven't been asked to do anything more at this point, though I would thoroughly enjoy doing it.
Awesome.
And anyone who even remembers Mr. York's books, thank you so much.
Awesome. Let's see. They really liked the bitch had it coming comment, Chris. Spot on.
It's true.
Someone else said she had it coming. I love it. Big Red says the more of these that come out, the more my personal safety will be put into question.
I don't know if that's
I'm not threatening you, really. This sweet little old lady.
What else here? I think, one more. Now that we've had romance, any other genre fiction for BattleTech, westerns, thrillers, horror, perhaps? Jen, what do you think of that?
Well, we kind of had a little bit of a Western one with Lawrence, the series where he took down mechs with horses on and ropes.
Which one was that?
I don't remember the name of it. It was one
Oh.
of Lawrence. It was a good book. I remembered it because I edited it for the Legends series. I don't know. I know there's different genres in the anthology that Phil edited about the grasshopper. There's kind of different genres in there, but I'm more on the Shadowrun side.
Mm.
I was just pulled in because I have the experience with romance,
Mm.
and also they really wanted a woman editor to make sure everything was copacetic.
Awesome. Was it Double Blind?
It might have been.
Okay. All
I
right.
don't remember. Do you understand how many books I have edited for Catalyst?
Nope.
I've been working with Catalyst for well over 10 years now.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's been a while.
Yeah. Nope. Don't know. That's wild though. All right. Well, I think that's all of our questions. Anything you guys have coming up that you want to promote or talk about, or where can people find you? And then we'll start to wrap up for the day.
You can find me at yorkwriters.com. Just like it sounds. That's our website where Steve and I post our stuff and try to keep it updated, and it's probably massively out of date right now. I've been working I've retired 3 or 4 times now, and every time I go back to work, and so I've been working for a publishing company, which has been taking a lot of my time.
Entirely fair.
Well, you can find me on jenniferbrozek.com, and I would love it if people would check out Augment, the magazine. It is a fully in-universe magazine from cover to cover, including the ads, all the articles. I'm so proud of it. I can't wait to get the physical one in my hand.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me. Thank you for your work on this fun project for Valentine's Day release. I think that was a perfect time to drop it. Um, Thank you for having fun in the world, but also taking the work seriously, and your contribution to this 41-year-old world we all love.
Oh, good lord.
Yeah.
But and thank you guys, viewers, for being here as you are every week. Really appreciate you. Don't forget to go get your copy of Augment, your copy of Hungry Like the Wolf, and don't forget that we won't be here next week, but we'll be here the following week. So thank you guys all so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for having us.
Of
Thank you.
course.